Okay, here we are with the knee bent. You all should have transposed your legs into a roughly similar position. And now we'll just look at some of the areas that we need to refine. So a lot of these things that are going like this pretty much need to be refined, as well as this space in here. Okay, so we're going to just continue the way that we were in the previous video. Sliding things around a little bit and reestablishing some volumes. And now we're going to get into actually doing just pure sculpting changes. I think we've kind of established most of the stretch and the squash that we can. And now we just really need to go in here and decide what's going to be in this area, how the quadriceps is going to redistribute down a little bit, what's going to happen to the patella, condyles of the femur, and those sorts of things. Okay, so you can see that quick block is reestablishing the tibial plateau, a little shape of the condyle of the femur, and then a few quick strokes to just redistribute the vastus lateralis. And now the big thing on the bent leg is he's bearing weight on this leg, and directly over top of the knee is his body. And bam, what happens is this guy really starts to pop out. And we can make out a little bit of it in the reference, but I'm telling you, and hopefully you know kind of intuitively for yourself, that this is the kind of pose that you see rectus femoris really pop out in, especially in a knee bent at this angle. Okay, so it's a little bit of intuition built up over the years, a little bit more than just strictly observing from the reference. Likewise, also in this pose is where you start to see even more of this sharp line coming on the side of the vastus lateralis. Okay, the new direction of the biceps femoris tendon is coming straight in from the pelvis to the head of the fibula, and what it's giving is a depression in between here. This used to be a convexity on the straight leg, but now it's a depression because both this tendon and the tendon of the semimembranosus, semitendinosus have descended as the knee is bent, right? So this intermediate space is now a concavity as opposed to a convexity. That's an important thing to understand about the knee in its bent state as opposed to a straight leg. Okay, so just really refining the hard surfaces. And this is all about hard surfaces on the bent leg. Top to bottom, you want to get a good sense. Like this looks tall, but you want to get a good sense of the height of the tibia in here, right? We have to have that. And then we have the fully kind of rolled out condyle, right? So it's doing its rolling pin thing, rolling back. So collectively, the height of these two, the block of the tibial plateau and the condyle of the femur, add up to be quite a large volume from top to bottom, right? So don't be afraid of that. It's kind of the strength of the knee that builds things up that tall. The worst thing is to make it too small and too flimsy, because it bears all the weight of the body. Okay, you can see me working on the cavity underneath here and just kind of refining how the calf muscles now look. And actually, they're bearing a lot more weight on this foot. So what we actually have here is soleus popping out. Gastrocnemius is a little bit tenser than it was before. And you'll see next I'm probably going to go in here and refine, put some tension in the peroneus longus. And remember, peroneus longus is muscle bodies up here, and it passes a long tendon down, which actually sits over peroneus brevis down here. But typically you see this as a convexity, and then this is a concavity. And that's probably what's going to happen next. So you see what I'm doing. And then soleus here, and then a little depression here. Okay, just moving forward, refining more of the quadriceps. This is looking flat, right? There's a subtle convexity to this that we need to capture going forward. So as you pose your legs, really pay attention to the planes, and you want the quadriceps tendon to be very unified, right? Because it's under enormous tension with all these muscles pulling to keep the leg, keep the knee static while it's bearing weight. So that tendon is going to be tight. So make sure that you sculpt it as such. Okay, taking volume out of the gluteal muscles. Remember, we have actually a lot of tension happening in here, right? So this section is bearing the body weight. All these things up here, relaxed now. These aren't bearing weight like they were before. So all of it's in this kind of bottom third. So we have to redistribute some of that. This is about where the fold of the leg takes place. Just establishing that plane. Spending a little bit of time on the fleshy area in here. A lot of jumping around. And finally, I'm going to settle back here to define a little bit of the head of the greater trochanter, a little bit of the top edge of the vastus lateralis, some of the tensor fasciae latae, and then also to refine some of the gluteal muscles, putting the tension in here. More refining. And that actually takes us to the end. So here we are. That's the bent knee. Okay, now this sets us up for the final stage of the exercise, which is to slice and start to really focus on what's happening in here with actually a cutaway of the bony structure. And that's going to be the next video. So again, that's kind of optional based on your time and the time you spent to get to this point. If you feel you can tackle it, it's actually a lot of fun. So try it if you have time. Okay, thanks.